Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Daphne's here because I've got a glass of water. And there's nothing more tempting to Daphne than a glass of water, is there, Dap? Can you hear her purring? It's really loud. Do you want to come and say hello? Come and say hello. Here she is. Here's the beautiful girl. You don't come on camera very much, do you? Oh, do you want to say hello to the camera people? Do you want to say hello to the people who live in the camera? She's becoming much more cuddly. I mean, I'm aware this probably isn't her bestest cuddle, but you've just sat on Daddy's lap all morning, haven't you? Beautiful girl. Right, off you go. But she will be gagging for the water. Anyway, welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Today, it's a book haul, so it's a fluff everywhere. It's a collection of books, some that I've received from the publisher, some that I'm really excited about receiving the publisher, a couple I've bought myself, a couple I've got from the old community library, and a couple who have been passed on to me by my family members, namely my husband David and my sister Charlotte. But let's start with the ones that were sent to me by the publisher. So I've got here Days of Light by Megan Hunter, who also wrote The End We Start From, which is around here somewhere. Might even have been on a TBR recently, but yeah, The End We Start From is around here. But this is, oh god, it's got like this sort of like iridescent front cover. I mean, stop it. It's actually out on 17th of April 2025, set on Easter Sunday 1938. Ivy is 19 and ready for her life to finally begin. At Cressington, her sprawling bohemian family and their friends gather for lunch and to await the arrival of a longed-for guest. Britain is on the cusp of war, but in the idyllic countryside, Sussex countryside, anything feels possible. This is like catnip for me. It is a single enchanted afternoon that ends in tragedy and will change Ivy's life forever. Chronicling 6 pivotal days over 6 decades. Again, I love that. Days of Light moves through the Second World War and across the 20th century on a radiant journey through a life lived in pursuit of love and in search of an answer. Oh God, I literally cannot wait for that. Oh God, and the front cover is so good. So there we go. Very, very excited about that. Oh, if I wasn't absolutely riddled with Women's Prize reading, then this would be being read. I mean, that's 17th of April 2025. Could be on next year's Women's Prize list. Don't think about that, Lauren. Then I've got another very exciting book, again from Picador, a proof. This is The Sunshine Man by Emma Stonex, which is out the 1st of May. Also could be on the Women's Prize next year. Emma Stonex wrote The Lamplighters, which was a book that I absolutely loved. It came out a few years ago. This is set in January 1989, and Birdie wakes up to the news she's been waiting 18 years to hear. Jimmy Maguire, the man who killed her sister, has been freed from jail. Birdie leaves for London with a gun and a plan to find him and make him pay. But there's another side to the story, and she's about to enter a world of family lies, worn-out loyalties, and long-buried betrayals. Did Jimmy kill Birdie's sister, or is he the only one, is he the only one she can really trust? And when the truth is finally revealed, will she choose forgiveness or retribution? A heart-stopping new novel of murky shared past and fury-fueled presence. This is a thrilling cat and mouse chase set against the salt-drenched backdrop of England's south coast. I live in the southeast. From best-selling author Emma Stonex. The Sunshine Man. Sorry, Daphne's just trying to get out, but I am very, very excited about that Emma Stonex book. Out you go, silly girl. Oh, thank you. Daddy's going to let you out. Go on. Go on then.
I know you want to go back in a minute.
Yeah, but she mustn't dig up the carpet. It's very naughty. Very, very naughty. Oof! Right, next up is a book that I already own a proof of, which is here. And I now have the paperback copy because it's out in paperback, and that's A Sign of Her Own by Sarah Marsh. I mean, I'm excited about this anyway, but I was doubly excited because I got sent a bookmark with A Sign of Her Own, and then my name spelled out in sign language, which is lovely. And I already knew that because for some reason I know the alphabet of sign language. I didn't E. L-A-U-R-E-N. But yes, very, very excited about this. So this probably means I will get rid of my proof copy of it. This was out in February last year. Ellen Lark is on the verge of marriage when she receives a visit from Alexander Graham Bell. Yeah, that one. Once she believed she was important to Mr. Bell. As some of his deaf students, she was among the first to learn of his dream to transmit a human voice along a wire, the telephone. Now Mr. Bell's idea is a reality and he is beset by problems and he wants Ellen to use her voice on his behalf. But Ellen has a story of her own, a man she loved, a language she discovered and a community Bell betrayed. It is a story no one around her wants to hear, but there may never be a more important time for her to tell it. Excited about that as well. Very excited about all of these. Then I've got These Heavy Black Bones, which is by Rebecca Aching Ajulu Bushell. In Kenya, the pool was green and surrounded by concrete so hot it burnt the soles of her small feet. She didn't know any different. A decade later, she would be a double British champion and the first black woman ever to swim for Great Britain. But this story is not about making history. As her body and mind are sharpened through grueling training, press scrutiny and the harshness of adolescence, Rebecca questions who she is swimming for and what the onward journey to the Olympics will cost her. A compulsory and unforgettable study of intensity, These Heavy Black Bones meditates on blackness, identity and the ecstasy of peak physical performance. In stunning prose, Rebecca charts her career's ascent, her singular love of the water and lays bare the pressures within her swimming world. This sounds great. Like, this sounds, I mean, I'm always interested in hearing stuff about race, but this with the, like, hearing about that line, the ecstasy of peak physical performance, like, that sounds very, very interesting. I also wonder if David might be into this. He's very into sort of like the Olympics and competing and stuff, but yeah, I feel like that's going to be absolutely brilliant. So those are the 4 books that I was sent by the publisher. Then I've got 2 that I bought myself. So I've got the third in the Chronicles of Narnia series. This is The Horse and His Boy by C.S. Lewis. So I now have a Kindle, and the first 2 books in the Chronicles of Narnia, The Magician's Nephew and The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which I also have somewhere, were free on the Kindle, on Kindle Unlimited. So I bought those thinking the whole series was free on Kindle Unlimited. No. But then I was in a bookshop when I was on one of my Friday reading vlog walks in Hythe. Were we in Hythe? Yeah, I think we were. And they had like loads and loads of copies of all the books. So I thought, well, I'll buy this one for £1. And then if I enjoy The Horse and His Boy, then I can move on to the next one, which I believe to be Prince Caspian. So yeah, but I very much enjoyed it. I don't believe I'd read The Magician's Nephew before, so I very much enjoyed that, and I've read The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe hundreds of times. So this will be very exciting. It says it's about 2 runaways, but it doesn't give you their names, and I don't think it's anyone that's sort of featured in the books that I've read so far. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then I bought myself, so I actually got this out from the library first. This is a cookbook, The Green Slow Cooker. Would highly recommend getting cookbooks out from the library because often they're expensive. This was £22, and if you buy it and then you don't end up making anything from it, or you make some things from it and they're just not for you, then it's a waste of your money. So get them out from the library. I paid £1.10 to get this out from the library. I made 2 things from it, and I was like, yeah, this is perfect, I'm going to buy it. And I will now reap the benefits of having got it out from the library because I know that this is going to be something that I make loads of stuff out of. So David and I were thinking about buying a air fryer. My sister has an air fryer which has a slow cooker function, and when I heard about that, I was very much more interested in the slow cooker function than I was in the air fryer. And my mum has got a air fryer which also has a slow cooker function, and I remember her having a slow cooker at some point, and I said, have you still got that slow cooker, would you be willing to lend it to me so I can try a few recipes out? She said, you can have it, because she's got the other one. So we have made from this, and this is really good because it's set out in seasons. So the back of the book is winter, and I have made from the winter section beetroot, orange and rosemary soup with whipped feta, which was yummy, really, really yummy. And I took a portion of that. So I had a portion and I took a portion round to my sister and my brother-in-law, and then I had the other portion myself. There is just something about chopping stuff, putting it in. So I put it in like the night before. I put the time, because this took 8 hours, I put the timer to come on at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then it was cooked by lunchtime. I just felt so accomplished that I had a delicious lunch. And then the next thing I made, which David was beside himself, but it was really, really good, was this portobello mushroom stew with dumplings. It was so rich and deep in flavour. This one I did all the chopping in the morning before I went to work, then went to work, set it to come on at like 12, because it took 5 hours, I think. 5 hours, and then I made the dumplings when I got home from work, and then ate it at 5. Perfect. So yeah, so I've got, I think the next thing I'm going to make maybe is the Irish stew. Oh, leeky potato soup as well was quite interesting to me. But David was quite into the Irish stew, which is here. But yeah, this is just the winter section. So there's so much yummy stuff in spring and things for summer, and then autumn, very warming and healthy and stuff. Let me just give you an idea of a recipe from each season. So we'll go for, this is a spring recipe. Sweet potato, spring cabbage and fennel pot with harissa and lemon, like those things. If I go to a summer recipe, is she in a summer recipe? Caribbean sunshine stew with mango. And then if I go to an autumn recipe, mung bean and paneer curry. So yeah, very, very good if you've got a slow cooker. Very much enjoy it. And yeah, vegetarian and vegan recipes all year round. Excited about that. Excited. Those are the two I bought. Then I've got two that I got from the community library where I work. So I was having a sort out of that. Because some people use a community library as a dumping ground to get rid of books that are so beyond, like they're like falling to bits. They stink of fags, all the pages are yellow, or they're just dirty, and people just use my community library to drop off rubbish there. So yeah, so I have to have a little curate there every so often. And when I was curating, I found two books that I was very, very interested in. The first is Tatty by Christine Dwyer Hickey. And I've got one of Christine's books on my Kindle at the moment, Our London Lives. Number one, because I want to read it for the Irish Readathon. Number two, because I think it might be longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction this year, but I was delighted to find this and thought, oh yeah, I'm really going to enjoy that. So this is, it says, hailed by the critics as a masterpiece, Tatty is a devastating yet hilarious depiction of a troubled Dublin family told through the lively, charismatic voice of a little girl. With brutal honesty, Tatty tells the story of her life with her beloved feckless dad, her tormented mam, her 5 siblings and the booze that breaks them down. This is not just an entertaining tale, but also a heartbreaking account of a disturbed childhood that makes for compulsive reading. So yeah, excited about that. And then I also got Someone at a Distance by Dorothy Whipple, and I picked this up because it's a Persephone book, and I love me a Persephone book. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here to read. So yeah, this will go to my collection of Persephone books to read. This is a nice big one as well. Here we go. Someone at a Distance has a deceptively simple plot about a deceived wife and a foolish husband. Avery North has been contentedly married to Ellen for 20 years. They have 2 children and live in the rural commuter belt outside London. When his mother advertises for a companion, the French girl who arrives sets her sights on Avery and callously threatens the happy marriage. Throughout the book, Ellen and Avery are so realistically described that it is almost painful to read. This is a deeply involving and perceptive novel by the literary heir to Mrs. Gaskell. Dorothy Whipple was forgotten until recently, but is now considered one of the jewels in Persephone Books' crowns. I thought I had another by Dorothy Whipple, or maybe I've read one by Dorothy Whipple, but yeah, there we go. And then, a bit of water. My last 2 books have been books that have been given to me by my family members because they don't think they will read or use them. So I've got The Year of Sitting Dangerously, My Garden Safari by Simon Barnes. David got this for Christmas off his mum. He had asked for this book. He was very, very excited about it. And then very, very disappointed that quite quickly he realised that this wasn't for him. Now, I am somebody who very much enjoys birds and nature. I think this was maybe a little bit too slow for somebody like David, who doesn't read all that much. And I think maybe for David, he needs something a bit pacier to keep him going, which is why he's reading a romance book at the moment called Icebreaker, about an ice hockey romance. So yeah, this starts in September with Simon Barnes puts a chair at the end of his garden, sits down and embarks on a voyage. His itinerary: to sit in that same spot every day for a year and to see and hear what happened to his surroundings. While sitting in sunshine, storms, blizzards and the occasional heat wave, he would encounter birds, deer, hares, dragonflies, plants and the everyday miracle of the change in seasons. Gradually he begins to see his surroundings in a completely new way. By restricting himself to a single location, he opens up new horizons, found many surprises and built a new relationship with a corner of the world he thought he knew so well. The Year of Sitting Dangerously is a wonderfully evocative and inspiring read, packed with handy tips that show us how we could all invite a little more nature into our lives. So yeah, so I'm definitely going to read this. Now, I wonder, it starts in September and I sort of feel a bit tempted to maybe read it as I go. So it will be like a long reading project and I'll read it all year. But yeah, it will be nice to sort of read it seasonally and experience what Simon's experiencing. Maybe a little bit where I am because we're both in the UK. So watch this space. Maybe I'll start reading that at the end of September. And then the last book I've got, and I need to have a deep look at this. This was a Christmas present to my sister and she just doesn't think she'll get round to using it. This is the Noma Guide to Fermentation by Rennie Redzepi and David Zilber. I love me some fermented food and drink. I love a kefir, I love a kombucha, I love a kraut, I love a kimchi, I love, yeah, just fermented stuff and like vinegary stuff I'm really, really into. So this book looks very involved. I mean, I've just opened up to a mango kombucha, but I think maybe with a bit of time, I'm gonna get a bit more use out of this than my sister will. It shows you how to make miso as well. I also love miso, but miso doesn't always love me. So yeah, so it looks very involved, but also I may well have the time to become involved in this. So there we go. So those are some books that I got my hands on in the months of, well, I mean, it's the beginning of March, so I don't even know if I did a book haul in January. So that might be, no, I did a Christmas book haul, didn't I? So definitely February and the beginning of March. Let me know what books you've been getting your hands on recently. Let me know if any of these appeal to you, and I'll see you all again soon for another booktube video. Cheers!